When I lay back down beside her, she finally asked the question I knew was coming. Why have you been so distant lately? Her tone was soft, uncertain, like she already suspected the truth, but needed me to say it. I stared up at the ceiling, watching the faint glow of streetlights draw shifting shadows across the room. I used to love nights like these, when the world felt still, and it was just us. But lately, even the silence had begun to feel cold, suffocating. I didn't answer right away. I exhaled slowly, my chest rising and falling with the weight of what I couldn't say. I'm just tired, I murmured at last, the oldest lie in the book. Tired of what? She pressed gently. I turned my head toward her. Even through the dim light, I could see the uncertainty in her eyes, the same eyes that once felt like home. But something was different now. I'd been waiting for her to notice, for her to finally sense the distance growing between us, the warmth fading, slipping through our hands one quiet evening at a time. Of course, she thought everything was fine, until I stopped reaching for her, until I stopped patching every tiny crack that appeared between us. That's when she began to notice. That's when she began to care. I don't know, I said, though I did. I was just tired of being the only one still holding on to something already halfway gone. She turned on her side to face me, her voice trembling. You've been like this for weeks, Alex. Ever since, I don't even know. Did I do something wrong? A small, bitter smile crept onto my lips. Did she do something wrong? Maybe not one thing. Maybe it was the build-up, every small dismissal stacking up like stones on my chest. Every not tonight, every sigh, every time she looked at her phone while I talked. We hadn't fallen apart in a single blow. We had eroded slowly, quietly. I reached out and brushed a strand of hair from her face, something that once came naturally. Now, it felt like a farewell. You didn't do anything wrong, I said softly. You just stopped showing up. Her brows drew together. What's that supposed to mean? It means, I said, sitting up a little, that you stopped being here. Not your body, your heart. You started living around me, not with me. She blinked, her lips parting as if to speak, but no words came. When I stayed quiet, she frowned, processing my words. You're exaggerating, Alex. I gave a dry laugh. Am I? She pulled the blanket closer, like she could hide from what I'd just said. You always take things so seriously, she muttered. That one sentence hit harder than I wanted it to. I'd heard it before from her friends, her mother. Too serious. Too sensitive. But being too serious usually just means you cared more than the other person did. I stared at her for a long time before finally saying, That's the problem, isn't it? You think caring is a flaw. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. For the first time in a while, she looked unsure, fragile, even. Alex, I love you, she whispered. You know that, right? I smiled faintly. I used to know that. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful. It was thick and painful, full of everything we'd refused to say. I thought about our first apartment, the cheap coffee, the arguments over dishes, the way she'd dance barefoot in the kitchen when she thought I wasn't looking. Even our fights had passion back then. Now, we just had quiet distance pretending to be peace. She reached under the blanket, her fingers brushing mine. I didn't pull away, but I didn't hold on either. Her eyes searched mine. Are we okay? I wanted to lie, to let her sleep believing we still were. But the truth had already filled the room. I turned to face her. No, Emma, I said softly. We're not okay. And we haven't been for a long time. Her expression broke, tears forming at the corners of her eyes. Then why didn't you say something? I did, I whispered. You just weren't listening. The ticking clock filled the space between us, every second closing the coffin on what used to be alive. When I finally lay back down, she turned away, shoulders trembling. I didn't reach for her. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is stop pretending. Morning arrived quietly. Pale light crept through the curtains, washing the room in faded gold. Emma was already in the kitchen. I heard the soft clink of a spoon against a mug, a sound that once meant comfort, warmth, routine. Now it just sounded mechanical. When I walked in, she didn't look up. She stood by the counter, still wearing the oversized t-shirt I'd bought her years ago, the one with the faded print she loved. "I made you coffee," she said softly, sliding the mug toward me without meeting my eyes. "Thanks," I murmured. We stood in silence. The small talk, the morning plans, the teasing all gone. Only polite distance remained, the kind shared by people who used to know each other. "I didn't sleep much," she said finally. "I know." She let out a shaky breath, turning to me. "So, what happens now? Are we breaking up?" The question hung between us, fragile but heavy. I took a sip of coffee, too bitter, like everything lately. "I don't know if it's about breaking up," I said slowly. "I think it's about accepting what's already broken." Her eyes flashed. "That's not fair, Alex. You can't just give up." "I'm not giving up," I said calmly. "I gave up months ago. I just didn't realize it until now." She flinched, crossing her arms like she was holding herself together. "I didn't know you felt like this." "That's the thing," I said quietly. "You didn't want to know. Every time I tried to talk about us, you brushed it off. You told me I was overthinking, that I needed to relax." Her lip trembled. "I didn't mean to make you feel that way." "I know you didn't," I said. "But you did." She took a step closer. "We can fix this, can't we?" For a moment I wanted to say yes, to believe love could be rebuilt with enough apologies. But love isn't a switch you can turn back on. Once the warmth fades, all that's left is memory pretending to be emotion. "Emma," I said gently, "I don't think we can. I think we kept holding on because we were afraid to admit it was over." Tears streamed down her face. "So that's it." I looked at her, really looked. The woman who once felt like my home, who laughed with me, dreamed with me. I didn't hate her. I didn't even resent her. I just didn't recognize her anymore. Maybe she didn't recognize me either. "Yeah," I said softly. "That's it." She turned away, covering her mouth as she cried. I let her. I'd been the one to chase her comfort for years. Now, she had to face the silence she'd helped build. I set my mug down, the clink echoing through the kitchen. "I'll stay with my brother for a while. Give you space." She nodded without looking up. I packed a small bag, clothes, my toothbrush, a few photos I wasn't ready to throw away. When I came back, she was curled up on the couch, knees to her chest, looking smaller, like a fading memory. "Goodbye, Emma," I said quietly. She lifted her head, eyes red. "Will you come back?" I paused at the door. "If we were meant to last," I said, "we wouldn't need to start over." Then I left. The cool air outside hit my face, sharp and clean, the first honest breath I'd taken in months. I didn't know exactly where I was going. Maybe just away from the version of myself that kept waiting to be loved right. As I walked, her question echoed in my head. "Why have you been distant?" The truth was simple. Distance wasn't the cause. It was the result of years spent trying to pour from an empty cup. I didn't feel angry or victorious, just lighter. Because sometimes love doesn't end with a fight or betrayal. Sometimes it ends in quiet realization, when you wake up one morning and realize you're sharing a bed, but not a life. And maybe, just maybe, the moment I pulled away wasn't when I lost her. It was when I finally found myself.